The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now, from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here are your hosts of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard and Taylor Welch.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for November 13th, 2025. This is season 15, episode number 19. Probably going to be the most controversial episode ever of the Power Play Post Show. This is show 533 in the long-running podcast. It is the Power Play Post Show. I'm just kidding. We have a great topic that we're going to start off the show with after we do the must-reads that I think will be a lot of fun for everybody to kind of maybe get a little riled up before the start of the two games against Athens. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And Taylor, the upcoming two games against the Athens Rock Lobsters, I think, are going to be so much fun. We're going to see some of the best skill in all of the FPHL all on one ice between two teams. I think it's going to be a great time. I know one game is close to being a sellout. The other one should sell pretty good as well. But I'm very highly anticipating these games against Athens. I know when we talked about this when it came to Port Huron, you weren't necessarily as excited as maybe as I was. I think you were a little bit more nervous about those games for obvious reasons. But when it comes to Athens, I'm just so excited about matching up the two best teams probably in the league right now against each other.
Yeah, I'd have to agree that I think, both fan bases on either side is probably very excited and anticipating these games to be very good. Physicality, the skill, just the whole thing is probably going to be very edge of your seat. At least I'm hoping. I hope it's a very fun game and that, these guys go out there and show everybody what they love to do. But I truly think that both fan bases, because I didn't really look a lot into their numbers, but I did look at who they have faced, and they're kind of like us, where, they faced a couple guys, a lot, and then it would be like us in Watertown. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like maybe they haven't played their best game, which is crazy to say because they've had a lot of shutouts and a lot of wins. Yeah. But they could be in the same boat as us, where they just haven't had maybe the best team or best opponent to face against. And now, you're facing number one from both sides. And I'm hoping that it shows why each team is number one.
Oh, without a doubt. And these are the only two games that these two teams will play in the regular season here on Friday and Saturday. I'm excited about it. I just cannot wait. Especially, last year, the two games were down in Athens. One was on a Wednesday, one was on a Thursday. Both of these will be Friday and Saturday, but we'll get to see Garrett Milan come up here. They have a great young goaltender. I mean, they have two goaltenders that are both 4-0 on the season. We'll talk about that at the end of the show when we preview these two teams and how they match up and how they square up against each other. But I really, truly think that Athens has a lot of skill. Now, they have a lot of things going for them, right? Brand new arena. You're down there in the warmer climate in Georgia. So a lot of good players are going to want to go there. But what's kind of crazy and kind of fun is the fact that Binghamton is now built up having two championships. This is also a great place to go. You have a great leadership group here in Binghamton with Andreas and Brant Sherwood and now John Quenville and Tyson Kirkby. But you also have two championships to kind of go like, hey, are you a good player? Why don't you come over here? We got something good for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, on top of that, maybe the fans will get a taste of, seeing somebody that they haven't seen this year so far. Somebody that was on our team last year.
We're talking about Chris Mott.
Yep.
He will be returning, obviously, to Binghamton for these two games. I think they also have Justin Samaro, who was on a few years ago here in Binghamton, not a part of the championship teams, but he was here in Binghamton. I believe Justin still plays with them. as well. So there is definitely a lot of cool stuff that is going to happen this weekend. I can't wait to get to our first topic. I do want to mention that we do have Austin D'Orazio here on the show, and great guy, grew up in Vaughan, Ontario. If that sounds familiar, that's because Zac Sirota is also from Vaughan. And believe it or not, they didn't meet while they were living in Vaughan, even though they're only a couple years apart. They met in junior hockey when they both played for the Markham Royals. So it's a great interview. You guys will be able to get to hear that here shortly. But the Power Play Post Show is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search for Power Play Post Show and become part of our community. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey? Visit binghamtonhockey.net. Coming up on this episode of the Power Play Post Show, as I just mentioned, Binghamton Black Bears rookie defenseman Austin D'Orazio. And I do want to say, before we get into this first segment, I want to thank Josh Williams, who is the director of video for the Binghamton Black Bears organization. He also works for Broome County at the arena. He sent us the last three opening intros for the Binghamton Black Bears. And there was a conversation on the Binghamton Black Bears fan page 2.0 group where people talked about liking or not liking the video or the song of that the Black Bears open up to, the intro before they introduced the players. And I read some of the comments and I'm like, man, this is such a great topic because, first of all, I'm a musician, play guitar, play piano, have done so since I was a very young boy, gone to many concerts. And I know that Taylor and Jeremy have also gone to many concerts as well. They don't just go to racing events. They also go to a lot of concerts. So I was like, I wonder if she'd be interested in talking about this. And then I was like, can I get Josh to send us the videos, right? Because the videos aren't out there publicly. You can just see them in the arena. And he definitely did so. So let me ask you, Taylor, first. What did you think about when I asked you if you'd be willing to kind of have this conversation about these?
I was excited. I know that you had called me on the phone to talk about it and what we were going to be discussing. And I know that you were slightly disappointed because you and I kind of pretty much agreed and you wanted us to kind of disagree so we'd have more of a conversation.
Yeah.
And after, watching the videos from previous years and this year's, I can really argue both sides, and it's so difficult. Like, I can't say that I'm, one side or the other, honestly. I really, I love this year's video, but I understand the gripe and the issues about the fan base wanting home team. I understand it.
Okay, so the big debate of the fans is about the Black Bears intro. Home team by Lakeview. And which you said Lakeview is actually coming to Binghamton sometime in November or December?
February.
Oh, it's February,
March or something. It's next year sometime. I'm pretty sure they're coming to Touch of Texas.
Touch of Texas. Okay, so Lakeview will be here. Now they do the song "Home Team," which has been a part of the Binghamton Black Bears intro over the last couple seasons. This year, the team has gone with "Heavy Is the Crown" by Linkin Park, which I find a very interesting song. So one of the things that I have determined why a lot of people like Hometown is because of the song hook in Hometown. All right. So just to read it off to everybody, what is a song hook? A song hook is a short, memorable musical or lyrical phrase that is catchy and designed to grab a listener's attention and get stuck in their head. Hometown definitely gets stuck in your head. It's in my head right now as we're doing this. It can be a lyrical line, a melody, or a rhythmic pattern, or an instrumental riff that is repeated throughout a song, often the chorus, but sometimes in other sections like an intro or outro. The hook is crucial for making a song identifiable and popular. Now, with that definition in mind, would you agree that Hometown definitely has the better of the two hooks?
Yeah, it's just Hometown's a lot easier to just kind of keep in your head and just to kind of play. Like you said, it's stuck in your head right now.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's almost like, when the arena starts playing Sweet Caroline, everybody joins in. it's one of those things that when it starts, everybody's ready because everybody knows what's going to happen and knows what's going to be said.
Now, for me, I want to make this perfectly clear. I'm a heavy metal guy. I always have been, always will. I know that "Heavy Is the Crown" is probably the heavier of the two songs, and there is the heavy, fast part in the song that I can literally be sitting here at home, and I probably won't do it up in the press box because it'll mess up my hair, but I'll headbang to that song. I can easily headbang to that song. Listen, I've been headbanging since I was like 10 years old. So I could certainly do that with that song. The Lakeview song, I don't really do that. I almost kind of like want to sway my shoulders back and forth a little bit. There is a difference in the two songs, and I think the hook really helps Hometown with the fans.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The hook part is definitely more swayed towards home team. But for me, it's almost like the dramatics are different.
Mm-hmm.
So home team's great. I think people really connect with it because of the lyrics and how catchy it is.
Yeah.
But I really like the dramatics of "Heavy Is the Crown."
Right, because they have that quiet part, the very kind of soft part, and then they get you into that really heavy part where, you hear the chorus and it just gets really into it. And there's dramatics there. And I know some person said that the video for last year for the Black Bears had a little bit more dramaticness to it or whatever. Do you kind of agree with that statement?
In a sense, but only because if you compare the two videos,
Mm-hmm.
it's very easy to sit there and say, well, yeah, last year's video has more dramatics in it. Because if you look at last year's video, we had so many returning guys that you didn't really have to, try to find space to fill in for the game footage or the player that you're showing on the screen. Or this year, we have so many new faces. So when you watch the video, it's pretty much just a screen of the player's face on it with the net in the background and, the smoke and the green lights, because they didn't have any video of them playing in a game to put on the screen.
Yeah.
So I do get that, there was a lot more dramatics or videos of the players in the video from last year, but we just didn't have that. You don't have that as an option for this year because of so many new young players.
So let me ask you this. Which song is a better song? If you had to listen to one of those, if I said, you know what, Taylor, for the next hour, you're going to listen to just one of those songs, which song would you choose?
Oh, man. That's a hard one for me because I could do both realistically. I like "Heavy Is the Crown" because, as you said, it does have the slow part, but it also builds up to where, there's the heavy breakdown. And I love that kind of stuff. Yeah. But the, home team, it's so easy and it's so catchy to just go along with. That is a very tough question for me.
It is a tough question. Personally, I like "Heavy As a Crown" better than I like "Hometown" as a song. Now, what about which song is more dramatic for the intro video?
For me, it's "Heavy As the Crown." Okay. Mostly because as I was watching the video, I was really watching. They do a great job of, lining up the way the music is going to the video. Right. Because there's a part in the video where Ramekers goes to pump his fist out. Yeah. And then the song breaks down. And it was you couldn't have edited it any better. Yeah. That part just made me so excited on the inside. Yeah. But also they put a lot of heavy hits in there. Mm-hmm. And usually those heavy hits is also another heavy part of the song. And to me, that's the kind of stuff that I just like. Yeah. To me, it goes really nice together.
I do want to say before we go on, Josh Williams does a phenomenal job at all these videos. It takes a long time to build these. You basically have to know when you see something on the screen, when it's happening live, listen, we got to mark this so we can cut this. And they cut that so they can put it into a group of files that eventually turn into sometimes these videos. Josh Williams does a great job. EJ Worth, who does a lot of the graphics and probably helps out with some of the graphic stuff on there, great job. So both of those guys, we want to say, we're not going to criticize anything that you guys do. We're just kind of having fun with this and whatnot. I personally think that when you listen to the lyrics of Heavy as the Crown, Home Team is great in the sense that it's like a rallying call, right? It is definitely an arena song that works very well to get any team anywhere pumped up. But Heavy as a Crown almost seems like it was written for the Black Bears after winning 2 championships, right? Because the crown of being the best, being the kings of the FPHL, which is what they have been the last 2 years, that gets heavy to try to win a 3rd in a row. It is so very tough to do, and I think the lyrics and the song just fit so perfectly for what the Black Bears are trying to do this year. And so that's why I like it so much.
Yeah, that's where I definitely agree with you. I think Home Team it's a great song if you just want to play it in the arena, during intermissions or as the guys come out after the intermission.
Sure.
And I know that the fans love it when they do that. But for me, the intro video, I like that it's a different song this year because it just seems fitting.
Yeah.
Heavy as the Crown just seems fitting because of the 2 championships.
Yeah.
And because of, everything that they've gone through from, pretty much the whole league disliking Binghamton or hating Brant or whatever the situation is, it just seems so fitting when you actually listen to the lyrics and just kind of watch how the video progresses. And they talk about, like, Kirkby's in that video a lot between his fights, his, all-time leading goal scorer.
Yep.
I love the way that they did Kirkby's name, McAnanima, Yates, and Stone. How they had their names and number up there as they kind of did their player stuff. I absolutely love that. So it seems very fitting to me, and that's why I personally really enjoy this year's video. But I could sit down and watch all 3 videos just over and over and over again and never get sick and tired.
Right, because there's something you can find in each one. Like when I was watching the 2023 and 2024 video and then the 24-25, I'm seeing Don Oliveri in those videos. And I'm like, man, there's Don. It's like, I wish Don was here. It's like, and if you're listening, it's like watching those videos makes me miss you even that much more. And I'm sure it's the same way for the fans if they got to see those videos as well. But I do like the way, first of all, again, Josh does such a great job of fitting the song and the video that he's putting to it and all the footage that they do on media day. So a lot of the footage that you see in that, a lot of that hard work takes place on media day. When I'm there doing media day, they're on the ice filming some of those things that you see where the guys, where their number and their name is up there. All that kind of stuff is filmed a lot of times on that day. And I know all the hard work that they put into it. But this is about the fans, right? And this should be about what the fans like. I had my wife, Kim, sit down and watch all 3 videos. She likes the hometown song. She did not like the Madonna intro from last year. She says, if you know anything about that Madonna song, it's a horrible song. And she's like, no, I can't watch. So she really liked the first one, the 23-24, a lot because it goes right into hometown. And she said all 3 videos, the video graphics are great and the videos are great. But for her, it's hometown. What about Jeremy when you showed Jeremy those?
His was definitely his favorite one was last year's. He really enjoyed last year's video. And I don't know if it's because it had both songs in it or if it's just because he liked the video in general. I will say the previous 2 years, I really liked how they started with kind of like the Binghamton City as kind of like the intro part of it.
Yeah, the one
was a really nice touch.
Yeah, the one had the Binghamton sign, like if you're getting off the highway to Binghamton. Yep. I really like the aerial shots, right? So when you use aerial shots of the city, of the arena, I really like that as well. To me, that's, if I'm breaking down the videos, I like it when you start off with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But as I kind of already mentioned about it being like a new chapter of a book to me, we've seen that you don't want to repeat the same kind of thing, at least in my opinion.
Right.
And having gone through everything that they've gone through, Personally, that's why I enjoy this year's video and song, just because to me it just seems so fitting.
Yeah.
But I do understand that the fan base likes home team, because that's, they rallied that song. They stuck with that song. They rallied it for 2 years, and it's not going to go away, which is fine. But I do understand the gripe about it.
Well, they made the team bring it back last year, right? After Christmas. Yeah. It's like they wanted it back and they got it back. Now, one comment that Ben made when I was reading through the comments on the Binghamton Black Bears fan page 2.0 group, and listen, everybody was respectful and they were all pretty good. But then when Ben talked, he's like, listen, we don't want to beat the song to death, right? But then when I was talking with my wife, Kim, she made this point. Listen, if that's your song, if that's the team song, if that's the city song, if that's what they want, maybe that's what they should have. And, I think that maybe in some senses you find a way almost every game to fit in hometown somewhere in there just because it's there. And then if maybe the intro song is still something else, okay, fine. But always try to get home team in there because it seems like the fans just really, truly like the song.
Yeah, and it's definitely, if you need to get the crowd pumped up or get them, to rally around the guys, that's the song you got to play.
Yeah.
You could probably even just start at the beginning and then you could probably pause it and they'll just take over the rest. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. Now, I did make a note here. Do the songs bring a different meaning to the different time periods of the Black Bears? I think that's something that you've definitely touched upon, from winning it for the home team after the first cup win to Heavy is the Crown after winning 2 and everyone is coming for the Black Bears. I think, that was one of my notes that I really wanted to make sure that we said. I think both songs work well. They just work well for different reasons.
Yeah, definitely. I just, after the last 2 years and everything that they've, I kind of feel like I'm repeating the same line, but it's just after all the stuff that they've had to go through between the league and the other teams and, just everything else, the drama that's, fallen to them, which hasn't really happened this year. Knock on some wood. That we've been out of the drama circle
so far.
It just. I really enjoyed Heavy is the Crown, and it just, to me, I like just to listen to the lyrics, and I very much, it's almost like when you watch a movie and you're getting to the end and that they've scored the movie and that final song at the end of the movie that's really supposed to move you. That's what this feels like to me.
That's fair. I don't disagree with that at all. Listen, we'll leave it with this. You're the fans. You guys come, you pay the tickets, you go to the games, you cheer, you boo, you sit on your hands, you do whatever you want to do. If that's the song you like, that's the song you like. I just want to say that we are 100% fortunate and lucky to have two people like EJ and Josh Williams handling graphics, handling video montages, doing all those things that a lot of teams in this league, a lot of their fans don't get that opportunity to have. We're very lucky in that sense. And again, I just want to say to Josh Williams, thank you so much. His support in helping me in the Power Play Post Show and what EJ's done for the graphics and, creating the new logo. These two guys are great, and I'm just kind of glad that I can kind of like highlight them a little bit in this kind of like little discussion about the songs.
Yeah, definitely. They do a phenomenal job, and to make a 2.5 minute video that you could you could sit there and just watch it on repeat for hours and not get bored is something to be proud of. Well,
there's a lot to see, and you can't see everything all in one shot. And by the way, I just want to say, Taylor, and this probably doesn't happen with you. You've probably seen these videos when they've been on the screens while sitting in a seat and watching. Most of the time when the video is happening, I have my head down in my computer, typing something, trying to put together some sort of notes or whatever it might be. That was like one of the first times I really got to, and just from today, from watching the video, I watched all 3 videos probably like 5 times each. And I will have to say that was probably the first time I really got to go through those videos So I really appreciate that we did this conversation, because then I got to see the videos a little bit better. And again, my appreciation for what Josh does is just outstanding. He doesn't just make these videos. He also does, directs all the cameramen and gets every shot that they can and do it as well as they have. If you've never seen the video room at the arena, it is pretty freaking cool. It literally looks like you're walking into a little mini TV studio, the back part of it where the directors, and there's all these monitors. It's a pretty cool thing.
Sounds like it's probably one of the hardest jobs to do too, aside from coaching.
Yeah. Nah, the coaches, they just stand on the bench. What are they doing? I mean, come on. But no. All right, let's move on, because we have games to preview for this weekend, and we've got an interview with Durazio to play as well.
Alrighty, so as you have probably noticed, Matthew Gilbert was released from the Black Bears. In 3 games played, mostly in the 10th forward position or on the third line, Gilbert did not register a point and only had 1 shot on goal. What does this mean for the roster? A position is now available for potentially Zac Sirota or Tyson Kirkby to go active, although Tyson is likely out for another week, possibly going into December.
Right. So, I personally think it's going to be Zach. I mean, he was only put on for the 2-day. As we're recording this at 8:37 p.m. on Wednesday evening, there has been no notification on the Fed site that Zach is going active yet. So we can't 100% say that, but it's a good chance that Zac Sirota will be back. And let's be honest, Taylor, having the Rat back on the ice, especially for this upcoming weekend, where if we can convince Athens to take a few extra penalties, that might be a good thing for us.
Oh, definitely. This is kind of, so in the one video, I think it was last year's video, there's a point where there's a fight happening and you see Josh Fletcher and he's got his tongue out and he's, all hyped up.
Yes.
And immediately after that, Jeremy goes, I kind of really miss Josh Fletcher, because he's like, we need somebody like that on the team. And I was like, well, Sirota should be coming back soon.
Yeah.
And then he made the point that he went on IR on the 31st. He said Halloween. So he should be due back soon. I think, a couple days is when he would technically be done.
Yeah, he could come off, I believe, on the 14th or the 15th, and obviously they play the 14th. So I think the 14th he could come off and maybe get activated on Friday. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. There have been some changes in the Black Bears organization when it comes to health and the training aspect. So I'm not sure. I was planning on going to practice today to see Brant and talk to him about a few things. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to because of my day job. So I'm hoping to maybe get out tomorrow and go see him. But it'll be interesting to see if Zach's coming in. I do know that when I asked Brant, he said, hoping so, for the whole Zac Sirota thing. So one last thing I want to touch upon before we go to the Austin Durazio. I'm still getting messages about Josh Fletcher and Don Oliveri. Will they return? I think the teams and the fans need to be prepared to not see these two this season. I'm not saying that Josh Fletcher isn't coming back. He still has until the end of November to get across the border if he wants to come back and play and do that. Now, I have not spoken with Josh probably since the beginning of the season, and I could probably reach out to him and probably get some sort of fake comment from him, because he did this to me last year when I asked him. He's like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, boom, he was here. And that was in November. So it's all good fun. I love Josh. He listens to the show. So I know he'll get a kick out of that, because I picked on him a little bit. Like, you didn't tell me you were here. I could have kept it quiet and everything. But he still didn't tell me. And let's be honest, Don has until probably the end of November as well to make the decision. And then Brant would really have to make a trade for him. Listen, the team and the fans, all of you need to be prepared to possibly not see these two this season. It may happen, it may not, but you have to be prepared for it, because as we were watching those videos, again, I'll say it again, man, I started missing, like Jeremy said, Josh Fletcher. I'm missing, Don Oliveri. I totally get it.
Yeah, definitely watching those videos back and seeing them on the screen, it definitely makes you miss them. But at the same time, we're not down any roster spots. We're not hurting for roster spots. And it's one of those things where it's a very hard decision either way, because we don't have the rights to Don, and we would have to make a trade for him. And I can tell you right now, the trade for Don, it wouldn't be worth it, honestly.
Yeah, and there's no disrespect to Don. You're not disrespecting right. Don. It's just that the full-time player you would have to get rid of is not worth having Don for the limited amount of time that you would have him. Don understands that. Brant understands that. So I think the fans need to understand that. This is not an easy situation.
But even in the same sense, if let's, magically say that we get both Josh Fletcher and Don Oliveri, that's two guys that you have to get rid of the team.
Yeah.
And even if it was two new guys, you're still going to make, the fan base upset because you got rid of these two guys that they've gotten a great respect for, that they've become huge fans of. So it's a very delicate situation, but it's not something we're not hurting for roster spots. We have a great team that is building and working very well together. They're meshing well together. The lines are forming very well.
Mm-hmm. And as it is, the worst part about this whole situation, not that we won't get Josh or Don back because we could, and then someone's got to go. As it is, when Tyson comes back, a deal has to be made or a move has to be made. Ugh. I feel sick just saying that because I like how everybody's been playing, obviously, this year. I mean, this is a 9-1 team, and we have to make a decision like that, or Brant does. We don't. You and I don't. I mean, we're not making the decision. It's not like we're calling up Brant and going, all right, drop him. Yep, just get rid of him. Yep.
I mean, we've had our guesses, and this is nothing against Gilbert by any means, but I had said that I thought he was going to be released, and he's only played in a couple games. It's very hard to see how somebody's going to play when you only see them, 3 games.
Right.
And, you got guys that perform very well that are coming back or coming in, and it's just this is why I'm very happy to not be Brant.
Yes.
And why videoing's probably just a step below coaching.
Yeah, exactly. I understand that completely. All right, coming up next here on the Power Play Post Show, I hope everybody enjoyed our conversation about the 2 songs. That was great. I love that. But coming up next here on the Power Play Post Show is defenseman, rookie, Austin D'Orazio. We'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers. Hi, this is Brandon Buczynski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. Very excited to have this gentleman on. He is one of the new rookies here with the Binghamton Black Bears. He is a defenseman, and it took me a few tries to get his name right when he first came to Binghamton, but I do think I have it correct now. He is Austin D'Orazio. Austin, welcome to the show. Great to have you on. Hopefully, I got your name correct.
Yeah, you absolutely did. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited.
Awesome. Austin, you are obviously from Vaughan, Ontario, which, if Black Bear fans remember last year, as I talked to Zac Sirota, the two of you are from the same hometown. I believe you're a couple years younger than Zac, but you guys did know each other playing hockey and played on some same teams together, right?
Yeah. We actually crossed paths. I never knew Zac, but we grew up in the same town. We crossed paths in Markham when we played for the Royals. We played together for about 2 years, and I have nothing bad to say about Zac. All good things. He's a great friend, and he's helped me bring back my career and play hockey again.
Was Vaughan, was it only just hockey for you, or when you were growing up, was there other sports also that you like to play?
I mean, it was always hockey. My older brother played hockey, so I was always on skates when I was young. When I was 3 years old, I was always chasing him around, and I was always that little kid running around the rink, and being that kid, I was always in the rink and just loving hockey, just because my brother and looking up to my brother, and it was a great thing when I was growing up, and it's a massive thing in Vaughan and in Toronto in general. It's hockey. If you don't really play hockey, I'm not really sure what you're doing when you're growing up. So yeah.
Well, obviously, there's so many people that are, up in Canada when they're young, they want to, play hockey and they skate. Finding ice time up there. I think I talked about this with Zach a little bit. Was it easy or tough? Because yes, there are probably more rinks up in, the Toronto area, but there are also a lot of people that live in the Toronto area, the greater Toronto area, that are probably also trying to get ice time as well. Was it ever tough when you were younger to get that ice time to play?
Yeah, I think I was very close with my brother. He had a couple friends that were rink owners, and I kind of had the opportunity to be able to get on the ice with him a lot. So that was the fortunate part for me. But yeah, no, I could see what Zach is saying by it being tough to get on the ice because of everyone plays hockey in Toronto. Really, it's hard to there's so many teams and it's really hard to get ice, and even if you find ice, it's kind of out of the price range of what you kind of want to pay for it. So
yeah, and it's also very competitive. It's not just that people are getting on the ice. There's a lot of competition with those players, even at a very young age up in Canada, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's got one of the best minor hockey leagues. I'd say in the world, one of they've a lot of NHL players have come out of the league that I played in the GTHL, like John Tavares and Cole Perfetti and those guys, and it develops a kid to the T. Really, it gives you exactly what you need to develop it and be great at the next level. So.
Talk a little bit about your time playing with the Vaughan Kings, because I know you played under 15, under 16, the AAA. You were an assistant captain at one point as well. Talk a little bit about that time period, because if I'm doing the math correctly, you were probably around 15, 16, 17 years old, correct?
Yeah, I was actually a little bit younger. I think it was around 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I played 4 years there. So, my time with the Vaughan Kings has been, they had nothing but the best to say about that organization. They're a world-class organization. What I will say about them is that I think I wouldn't be the hockey player I am today without, the development of my coaches there and the help from the organization and everything they put into, being, a top-notch team in the GTHL, which isn't easy to do with all the, the competition and the different types of historic organizations that, are in that league as well. So.
Yeah, the 17-18 season, you played 64 games. That's a lot for someone who is, that age, playing, that many games. Was that hard on the body? Was it something that you kind of learned from, how to take care of your body better? Is that the time period where you start thinking about the nutrition, the exercise, the workouts, things of that nature?
Yeah, I think it was definitely hard on my body. Playing 64 games is, never easy, but I was young. So I kind of had, or younger at least, I kind of had the energy, and I was always ready to go. But yeah, I think at an early age, I was instilled with, great nutrition and discipline from my mother, my parents, and obviously my brother playing a high level of hockey as well. It was kind of easy to transition into, trying to be a pro on and off the ice as much as possible, just because of how he would carry himself, throughout the house and in public, and definitely on the ice. He acted like a pro everywhere he went. So
how hard is it for a Canadian player or just players in general when it comes to junior hockey? It seems like in junior A, there's a lot of movement. There is a lot of moving around. You played in Newmarket. You played with Markham. You played, obviously, with Trenton. You also did NCDC games. how hard is it for players to, for me, it just seems like there's a lot of movement. And even in your career, where you did spend a lot of time and played a lot of games with Trenton and with Markham, but still there's a lot of movement that happens in junior A hockey. And I just feel like it has to do with competitiveness, and also that players are just looking for the best fit for themselves as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I think in my case, my first year I played when I was 16, played in Newmarket, and that team actually got sold after the year, so I was a free agent. And then I ended up meeting Zach with the Markham Royals, and played there for 2 seasons. And you know what? My first season there was great. It seemed like the right fit. And the second season, I felt like, you know, I needed to move on a little bit, and ended up on Trenton. Actually, you know what? I'm forgetting a year with the COVID year. I feel like I forget that all the time. So that season ended up getting canceled, and the only hockey league I was playing was the NCDC, and I had the privilege to go play there. I did move around a little bit there, but we were in a Florida bubble, which was a treat. I wish I could go back. We lived on a resort and a golf course. It was amazing. Oh, wow. But the hockey, you know, it kind of bit me in the butt a little bit there. I was moving around a lot, and like I was saying before, my confidence wasn't right at that moment, and it was tough for me. It really was. I had to say it was one of the, you know, the toughest years of my life, and you know, even after that, with like the moving around and stuff like that, it's not easy to, you know, at a young age to move around away from your family, trying to, you know, live out your dreams. Of course, you're playing hockey, the thing you love to do, but you know, you're only on the ice 2-3 hours a day, and it's tough when you leave the rink and you got nothing else to do. You're just kind of thinking and stuff. So,
you know, and then of course your final year in Trenton, your final year junior, basically, you know, you play 51 games, you score 14 goals and 40 assists for 54 points. Then you play 13 games in the playoffs. Talk a little bit about that year and kind of like where your game was and how you were feeling about yourself during that season.
Like I was saying before, I think Trenton is one of the best junior places to play. That year was a year I'll never forget. I made brothers. I'd say family now. All 23 of us. We still talk very, very, very often. But no, that year I think Trenton, you know, they just set you up for success. They give you everything you need. And like you saying I played 51 games. That it might be hard on my body a little bit, but we have all the resources we need, right? We have, you know, we had the trainers working overtime at all times, and you know, getting our body right, and nutritionists and stuff like that. So we're always ready to go. But yeah, no, Trenton was a very good time, you know, in juniors. Is probably my best year of juniors, and you know, my game was in the right spot, but obviously we wouldn't be able to do it without the help of my teammates. I had a couple good friends on that team that I'm still very, very close with. One of my best friends, Matt Cato, and he helped me out a lot with that year. We lived together there, and he ended up going off to Vermont, and then now he's at St. FX. But no, he was a great friend to me, and he helped me out. He also had a good amount of goals that year, so he helped me out with the assists a little bit. So
no, 100%. And then from there, you go to Utica University, which I know in the D3 Lions is a very good team, and they've had success there. Talk a little bit about the decision making to go to Utica and playing some D3 hockey.
Yeah, I mean, it was a no-brainer for me, really. When Utica reached out to me, it was pretty easy to make a decision and commit there. I mean, like everyone's kind of heard, I feel about Utica is, you know, it's a like like I said about all the the organizations I've played for, it's a world class D3 team, top 5 in the country mostly every year.
Yep.
Get a lot of fans. They support us a lot. And I had a great time at Utica. I've my 3 best friends that still go there. They wish I was still there with them, but I wish I was too. And sometimes, but you got to move on sometimes. And at the end of when I left there, I left and it was tough for me to leave, but I had to do what was great for me. It was what was right for me, and at that time, and I have nothing bad to say about Utica, but it just wasn't the right fit for me.
Yeah, and you were telling me a little bit off air about getting back, like even just 2 weeks before you joined the Binghamton Black Bears, you had a conversation with Zac Sirota, somebody you obviously played with. He obviously was here last year. Talk a little bit about that conversation, which kind of helped bring you here to the Black Bears.
Yeah. It was like I was saying to you before off air, it was a weird year for me last year. I started off at Utica and at Christmas I decided to move on and try to go play somewhere else at the Toronto Metropolitan University in U Sports. That didn't end up working out, so I kind of got content with being, quitting hockey and going to work 9 to 5. And but August came around. My closest buddies were going to play hockey, and I realized after the fact that I still do love hockey, and I'm a hockey player, and I know I can excel at this game if I put my mind to it. I just saw Zac in the summer and at our hometown gym, and I was just asking him, like, how is it still playing? How are your years in Europe? And then he brought up the Black Bears, and he opened my eyes and kind of he gave me a good taste of what it is to be a Black Bear, and I bid on it pretty quickly. It was great. I have, I think I still have chills kind of this day, the feeling that I felt that day when he kind of like talked to me, and it was a little bit of an emotion swing for me, because I was so set on being a full-time 9 to 5 guy. It was easy for me to make that decision to come here and play, and I'm so happy I did it, and everyone here has been so welcoming, the fans, the boys, Coach Brant Sherwood, and I'm just very excited that I'm here and happy to be here.
So you had the conversation with Zac, and it moved you. It sounds like to me that it really did move you. What was the conversation like the first time you talked to Brant Sherwood? I'm sure there was a phone conversation or something. What was the conversation like with Brant the first time?
I mean, it was a long. Me and Brant had a very long conversation the first time we talked.
I can tell you that's not rare. I've heard that multiple times from players when I ask them about that first conversation with Brant. A lot of times, oh yeah, it was an hour long. Oh, it was 45 minutes long. Oh, it was an hour and a half long. Scott Romiker's probably talked to him for about 6 hours because that guy can talk. And I know, and I love Scott to death, but he can definitely talk. So it was a long conversation with Brant.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing and the reason why he probably has the longest conversation is because he really cares for his players, and he really wants to listen to, who they are as a person, and what they're going through, because everyone's life is obviously different, and everyone's got their own thing going, right? So I think that's the biggest thing for Brant is caring for his players, and that's what it seems to be. He really cares for his players, and he really wants to get to know them as much as possible. And that conversation went on for, I'd say about 45 minutes to an hour. And we just talked about, my life and who I am as a person and what did I want to get out of hockey. And I just told him, I haven't been on the ice in about 2 months, so I might not be the greatest player at first. I just think, you need to get for lack of better words, give me a little bit of a leash and let me, develop over the practice times and by games, and hopefully I can be the player that you need and you want, I know it's been working out recently, but the work isn't obviously done yet, and we have a long season to go, and we have a big weekend this weekend, so I'm very excited for it.
Absolutely. Now, I have to ask you, you've obviously on some good teams in the OJ, obviously a D3 team that is considered one of the top D3 teams in the country, top 10 almost every single year. You come here and you start practicing with the Black Bears in the way Brant Sherwood, and you have John Quenneville, who played in the NHL, who literally just retired from active duty. Active playing, and now he's going to be a coach here. Were you surprised on how well structured and organized when you come into a practice here? I mean, this is single A hockey, and yet you have a 2-time Commissioner's Cup champion head coach, and you have a former NHL player, AHL player coaching you guys. Were you kind of like comparing this a little bit maybe to some of the other really good places you were at and going, wow, this is pretty impressive?
Yeah. I mean, like right away, right when I got to the rink, the facilities are just top notch, right? I think, there's some, higher level teams that don't have half of what we get and how we get treated. I think the structure here is just, like I said, top notch. There's really not really many places that I've played that compares to Binghamton. I think I wouldn't even say the closest was Utica, but this is kind of its own realm. I think they've done a great job here, and jumping into a practice is very structured, and the stigma around the Federal Hockey League, obviously it's a little bit different, but coming here and to play, it's not what I expected. It's much more. It's even it's exceeded my expectations, and I'm very happy to be here. So,
what about the fans? Were you surprised on how many fans and how this place filled up, or did Zac kind of fill you in on when we have a good night? It's a great night in Binghamton with the fans.
Yeah, no, he it was everything as advertised by Zac. He kind of told me, like, the fans are amazing. Like, you get to the rink, all they want to do is they want to get to know you. They want to cheer for the team, and they're always yelling and ready to go for the game, and that rink is on a bad night, it's always great. So I love fans, and I'm excited to play for them on Friday and Saturday. So,
what about after the games? Have you gone out and checked out, like, holy crap, there's people here that want our autographs too? Because I think that's a surprise to some people when they come here. It's single A hockey. They don't expect it's not the AHL or the ECHL or the NHL, and boom, you walk out there and it's like, whoa, there's fans here that want our autographs and pictures. That's got to be a different feeling for somebody, even for a rookie coming in who played in a great place like Utica and even Trenton and Markham.
Yeah, no, it was a great feeling. I think, I've never really experienced that. I mean, a little bit in Trenton, but I think going around the city and you being recognized on the street is a feeling that you can't really resemble. It's happened a few times, it's great for the confidence, and this city is, it's around the team. They love the team here, and it's something, like I said, is something I haven't really experienced, and I love it, every bit of it. So
the first 10 games of the season, Brant Sherwood has probably had you play with a couple different D partners. Last weekend, he basically kind of almost had like a rookie with a vet type of scenario set up. What was it like playing with Dan Stone? I know I talked to you a little bit about it on Sunday for a few minutes when I saw you in passing, but what was it like this past weekend playing with Dan Stone? You know how I feel about him and his positioning and the way he plays the game, but tell the fans a little bit about what it's like to be on a line, a D pair with Dan Stone.
I think the best way to put it is it was seamless. He's very easy to play with. He does everything right with the puck. Whenever you kind of have a little bit of a breakdown if it's with me, or if somebody gets by me or something like that, he's always right there ready to go and defending me and having my back. And it's great to have a little bit of a fallback if something doesn't go right, because it's a game of hockey and it's not going to always go right. So it's great playing with Dan, and he's a great player. He sees the ice so well, and his first pass is second to none. So
what do you think your role is when you're on the same D pair with Dan Stone? I see him as an excellent guy who is usually in the right place at the right time, number one, and that's just because he's so good at his positioning and where he needs to be on the ice. But at the same time, he makes good, crisp passes that almost never miss someone's stick. What is your role when you're kind of paired up with someone like Dan?
I feel like the kind of player I am is a little bit more offensive as a defenseman. So that being said, like Dan Stone, he's so great with his positioning and stuff that like even if he's up in the rush and I'm back, he's always there to fall back and be there for me, right? So I think we complement each other so well that he knows where to be at the right time, and if I'm up in the rush and I'm trying to be an offensive threat, he's in the back and he's making sure that puck stays in or that puck gets out, or he's just always in the right spot. And I think we like I said before, I think we complement each other really well, and I'm very happy to be playing with him, and he's a great player. So.
All right. So second period, 12:29 in the period. Jacob Shankar gets a pass over to you, and you score a goal. Talk a little bit about that goal and how it felt.
Yeah, it felt, I'd say, relieving. I've been shooting a lot of pucks on the net, and some of them have been missing, but I just kind of stayed the path and trusted the process to I felt like something was coming for me, and hopefully I could just stick to my game, and it ended up working out. I felt like I needed to kind of shoot for a lot more, and I ended up doing that, and luckily I went in the net, and I'm happy to get my first as a Black Bear. So
yeah, and what was nice about it is not only did you score your first goal, the two guys that got the assist with it was Tim Kim and of course Jacob Shankar, right? So it was like the three of you guys came together to help you get your first goal. Now, Zachary Desmarais also got his first goal in the first period. There are some new rookies here on this team. And I got to imagine it's a little intimidated to come into a team that's won 2 championships in a row. And you got like a Tyson Kirkby, a Gavin Yates on this team, CJ Stubbs. But it seems like you guys, all of you rookies, have kind of fit in very nicely with this team.
Yeah, I think it all goes back to Coach Sherwood, making sure that everyone feels comfortable, and all the boys making everyone feel welcome, right? I think whether you're a rookie or a vet, you all get treated the same. I think the best part of this place is that you get the confidence to go play your game. And that's one thing, I didn't really experience in a lot of other places. And I felt like here is just, it's a really great fit for me. And I'm really happy to be here. So
now, do you feel like you guys can bring that hunger to get that third championship? Because, the first time you win a championship, you weren't here, obviously. And the second year, you weren't here. But in the first year, it's like everybody's hungry. Every single buddy's hungry, and they just want it, right? Second year, it's like, oh yeah, let's do it. And you probably a couple new rookies come in, like a Zac Sirota, right? But now in the third year, everybody's talking that they really want this third championship. Yet this is your first. This would be Zachary's first, Jacob's first, Tim Kim's first championship, right? Do you guys kind of bring that little extra hunger to the team, do you think?
Absolutely. I could speak for them and say that like we are all so motivated to bring this championship back to the city for the third time in a row. But like I was saying before, I think those guys, they work so hard off the ice. We're always, we're little rink rats. We're always at the rink, and we love being at the rink. We get up so early to get to the rink before practice, and we always ride together and stuff like that. So it's amazing. I wouldn't rather another group of guys, to be rookies with here, because it's, these guys really are focused, and they have, one goal, and that's the championship here. So
very true. Very true. Okay. So let me ask you this question. It's a question I ask every once in a while to everyone. Who are you actually rooming with this year on the team?
I'm with Chichu Laughlin.
Oh,
yeah.
Just the two of you?
Yeah, just me and Chichu.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what's Chichu like? We haven't talked to him yet here on the show. Maybe we'll get him on soon. But what's Chichu like?
He's a great kid. I think he's a little bit on the introverted side, obviously, and I think he's a great player, and makes he makes it easy for me when I play with him too. And but yeah, no, he's a great kid, and I have nothing but good things to say about him, especially as a roommate. I think that the little things around the house is great. Keeps it always clean, so I have nothing bad to say.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
One last question about Zac Sirota. We affectionately called him the Rat last year on this team. You obviously played with him, maybe never on the same line, but maybe you guys were on the ice at the same time in Markham. Can you say or not say that he played that kind of style of hockey even in junior hockey as well?
Yeah, I think his game has always been the same. I think he's obviously gotten way better over the years, developed a ton, but I think his overall game has always been the same thing. He's a great guy, to have on your team, because he'll draw a million penalties a game, but if you're on the other side, you probably don't like him very much, and that's a great guy to have on your team. It's really it's a puzzle piece that just puts it all together, right? So.
No, absolutely. Well, congratulations on your first goal. Welcome to Binghamton. We love, obviously, having people come in and just who have the drive and the hunger to obviously go and try to win another championship. I knew you guys have been without Tyson Kirkby and Zach, as we've talked about him on the ice. Hopefully Zach's coming back here soon, as I saw the roster move, and then just kind of putting some math together and figuring out the dates. Hopefully Zach will be back for the games against Athens. What have you guys talked about team-wise about Athens?
I mean, they're a great team over there. They got a really good squad, a strong squad. But I think we're going to be ready with the help of Brant Sherwood. He's going to get us ready to go, and we've been waiting for this weekend for a while. Not to say that we treat every weekend differently, but this is one weekend that we can really get a feel of a little bit of more playoff hockey, and we're ready for this weekend. And practice today, everyone was flying around. The practice was everyone was really good today, and I'm really excited for this weekend, and it should be a good judgment on where we could be in about a month, and where we could be in June or April or May. So I think all the boys are ready to go, and it should be a treat on Friday and Saturday to watch, and all the fans should be there to cheer us on, because it really 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 helps us out when they're loud, and but I know they will be, because they're the best fans in the FPHL. So.
Did you hear them when they cheered after your first goal, or was it kind of like one of those things where you just didn't hear anything? You were so excited.
Yeah, I tell the guys all the time. They'll be talking to me and saying, "Hey, like you remember this play? Maybe I could have done this." And I was like, and I just tell them, guys, I kind of black out on the ice. I don't know what kind of happens. I think, I think in that situation, I totally blacked out and kind of just let my drive for the game and my motivation and hunger to win take over, and it ended up working out. And I don't really remember much, but I know they were, I watched it back a few times, and
good.
They were definitely loud.
That's awesome. He is Austin D'Orazio. Austin, thank you very much for coming on the show. We really, really appreciate it, and good luck this weekend against Athens.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be on the show.
Awesome. We'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was Austin D'Orazio. I want to thank him for coming on the show. And you'll get 6 more questions with Austin on our Sunday weekend wrap-up show, which will be obviously on Sunday. That's why I said Sunday initially. This upcoming weekend, 2 big games against the Athens Rock Lobsters. Taylor, let's start breaking this down.
Alrighty, so here's the Power Play post-show preview of the highly anticipated Black Bears 2-game series versus the Continental Division leaders, the Athens Rock Lobsters. This is the battle of the 2 top teams in the Empire and the Continental Divisions. The Black Bears have played 10 games, are 9-1-0 with 26 points. The Rock Lobsters have played 8 games and are 8-0-0 with 23 points. The Black Bears have scored 47 goals, a 4.7 goals per game average, and only allowed 25 goals for a 2.5 goals allowed per game average. The Rock Lobsters have scored 49 goals, a 6.2 goals per game average, and only allowed 17 goals for a 2.1 goals allowed per game average.
Now, Taylor, before we carry on here, let's talk a little bit about that aspect of it, right? The Black Bears are used to being the team that dominates that particular stat, which is scoring more goals and having a very high goals against or goals per game average, which theirs is pretty respectable at 4.7. Normally it's above 5. But the Rock Lobsters have scored a lot of goals to start off, and they've only played 8 games. That's why that's a little bit more of a lofty 6.2 goals per game average. That's why I think going into this weekend, these are the 2 games of the weekend that people really need to be looking at if you're the outside to see which one bends and breaks the most. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I looked at their numbers just a little tiny bit because I was curious to see. I looked at their last couple games because I wanted to know what their shots on goal were like because, the Black Bears haven't had a team that has gotten realistically more than 20 shots per game. And so I was curious to see if they kind of had the same deal where they got a lot of shots in goal, but the opposing team didn't. And interestingly enough, for the most part, each team that they faced, they've kind of had very similar or close shots on goals compared to the team that they're facing against. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, usually Binghamton has 40 to 50 shots on goal. The only time that they got beat so far this weekend are the 2 games in Port Huron, where Port Huron outshot the Black Bears. The Black Bears were mostly in the 20s in those 2 games, and the Prowlers were in the 30s, and they outshot them. But again, that's such a unique situation with the Prowlers, with the way they play physically and defensively and whatnot. I am definitely interested to see how this kind of stat and the shots on goal stat kind of shapes up after these 2 games are done. And again, both teams are going to be gunning for each other because this is the only 2 times they play each other the whole season.
Yeah, and I'm just very excited that it's happening in our arena this year instead of going down to the Rock Lobsters like we did last year.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, let's talk about last weekend's games.
So last weekend, the Black Bears hosted the Indiana Sentinels and scored 2 wins. On Friday night, the Black Bears defeated the Sentinels 4-1. Then on Saturday night, the Black Bears defeated the Sentinels 6-1. The Rock Lobsters also scored 2 wins last weekend. However, Sunday's game was in OT. On Saturday, the Rock Lobsters defeated the Monroe Moccasins 6-2. Then on Saturday, they defeated the Moccasins again 7-6 in OT, getting the game winner from Daniil Gulharov.
Very good.
I believe we're saying that correctly. If not, I do apologize. 141 into the overtime period.
Yeah, I do think it's Daniil Gluharov. And as you looked it up, you said the K is probably silent. We are so fortunate that we don't have names like that with Binghamton. It makes Brooke's job easier. It makes our job easier doing the show, not having to learn some of these names. Although I did stumble over Durazio when he first came to the Black Bears, so that was kind of tough. Bondarenko. Let's have this conversation now. Okay, so Taylor and I weren't at odds, but we discussed the whole Ivan Bondarenko or Ivan Bondarenko. And I did have a conversation with Frank Perney up in the press box. He came up during, I think it was Saturday's game, and he came up and he did confirm to me it is Ivan. He spoke to Ivan in the penalty box and asked him, and Ivan said it's Ivan. So there you go. You were right. He was saying it that way. It is correct to say that. But it's probably one of those names where if you called him Ivan or you called him Ivan, he'd be okay with either.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. And there's been, like Demarais, Desmaris, we call it.
We screwed that up. Yep. Yep. I'll be apologizing to him.
It's definitely a learning process. That's why after being at the game, if I'm writing about somebody, I'll go back through and listen to how Brooks says it, because he's pretty good and he does a good job at what he does. So I like to listen to him say a name a couple of times to hopefully, get it into my head. But the Yvonne thing still cracks me up, because I literally sent you a very short clip of Frank saying it, because you said that you never pay attention to it on the ice. And even at the game, when I messaged you about it, you're like, oh, no, I missed it again. And I'm like, oh. I did hear him say it the one time, and I was like, wow, he really does say it. And then I had the chance to talk to him about it. And so there's that. Either way, all right, the Rock Lobsters are led by Garrett Milan, 8 games played. He's got 8 goals, 10 assists for 18 points. He's got 2 power play goals and 1 game-winning goal. Okay, Luke Croucher, 8 games played as well, 7 goals, 10 assists for 17 points, 1 power play goal, 1 game-winning goal. Daniil Gluharov, very good. I'm getting there on that one. 7 games played, 4 goals, 11 assists for 15 points. We could still be saying it wrong, by the way, Taylor. We don't know. For sure.
one game-winning goal. And then we got Carter Shinkarik, 8 games played, 3 goals, 10 assists for 13 points, 1 game-winning goal. And then I highlighted both of their goaltenders, because I have no idea who they're going to play against us. Both of their goaltenders are 4-0. All right, so you have Carter McPhail. I believe he's the rookie of the 2. I know he is, because William Laviere played last year. He's played in 4 games. He's got a 4-0-0 record, 1.25 goals against average. He's got 2 shutouts and a .966 save percentage. So, yeah, maybe if, he stubs a toe and doesn't play this weekend, that would be okay with me. But then you have William Laviere, who's also an excellent goaltender, 4 games played, 4.00, 2.98 goals against average, and an .894 save percentage. I got to be honest with you, Taylor. When I look at these numbers, these are the kind of numbers that I think of when you look at the Binghamton Black Bears, right? Because when Tyson is there, when Don was here last year, these are the kind of numbers you saw, lofty numbers, especially with only 8 games played for the Rock Lobsters. Having somebody that has a 2.1 or a 2.2 points per game is a pretty good average.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's definitely something that we're used to seeing. And I think we're working our way there. And hopefully this game helps that.
Yeah. The Black Bears are led by Ivan Bondarenko, 10 games played, 4 goals, 13 assists, and 17 points with 1 power play goal. He and Mac Jansen have been such a great addition to this team. Gavin Yates, 8 games played, 7 goals, 8 assists for 15 points, 4 power play goals and 1 game-winning goal. And let's be honest, Gavin has been the MVP of the first 10 games for the Black Bears. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. Next on the list, CJ Stubbs, 10 games played, 4 goals. Now, what's big about these 4 goals? All 4 of them have been game winners. 2 of them have been on the power play. He's got 4 goals, 11 assists for 15 points. And then you have Mac Jansen, who I think has been huge for this team. 10 games played, 8 goals, 5 assists, 13 points, 3 power play goals, 1 shorthanded goal, 1 game-winning goal. So he's kind of touched all aspects of the game. And then you have Connor McAnanama with 6 games played so far. He's 5-1, a 2.32 goals against average, an 891 save percentage because he sees about 2 freaking shots every 5 minutes, and that's it. And he's got 1 shutout on the season. I think the Black Bears are starting to come into their own. And the one thing I will say about the Black Bears and their stats this year so far, Taylor, is that when you have so many line changes, and I think we've only seen really 1 line be the same for the majority of the 10 games, which is obviously CJ Stubbs, Ivan Bondarenko, and Mac Jansen. They're the only ones that have played consistently together a good portion of those 10 games. These numbers will go up as healthy players come back in.
Yeah, the line changing, I think, has been it's been fun to watch. As you said, Stubbs, Bondarenko, and Jansen have pretty much been on the same line, I think, for like 9 of the 10 games. I know Thompson was the center at one point. I know he was for the first game, but then I think after that, I don't know if he was anymore.
No, he went back to wing.
But, they've played first line, they've played second line, and they fit so well whichever line they're doing. But those 3 guys, it doesn't surprise me at all that they're leading our team right now, and especially with Gavin up there on that list as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. All right, special teams. Binghamton power play ranked 8th with 13 power play goals and at an 18% conversion rate. The penalty kills ranked 2nd in the league right now with 6 power play goals against only, which is pretty good, and an 87% kill rate. Athens Rock Lobsters power play is ranked number 1, but they have scored only 11 power play goals versus Binghamton's 13. Binghamton has had definitely more chances on the power play and not converted. They're trying to work on that. They're hoping that'll be better this upcoming weekend. The Rock Lobsters power play is firing off at a 28% rate when they are on the power play, but they won't get a lot of chances with the Black Bears because they just don't give up a lot of power play chances. Now, the penalty kill for the Rock Lobsters is ranked 6th. They've given up 6 power play goals against as well as the Black Bears, but their rate is at an 84% rate because they have given up more chances to people. So, Taylor, what are you expecting this weekend between these 2 teams? Because I'm thinking this is either they're such high-skilled players that we're either looking at like a 7-6 victory by somebody, or it's more like what happened every time we faced off against the Carolina Thunderbirds over the last couple of years, and it ends up being like a 1-0 or 2-1 kind of game. What do you think?
My initial thought would have been it would be like Carolina, where it was a very tight, 1-0 game. But being that how this year has gone so far and how well, both teams seem to be doing, I think it'll be a close game, but I don't think it's going to be a 1-0 kind of game. I think it's going to be, like you said, like a 7-6 kind of thing.
Wow. You think so? You think both teams are going to break out and score a lot of goals?
Truthfully, I do. It seems like both teams are, equally, disciplined and not either giving up a lot of power plays or that kind of thing. So that'll be interesting. Honestly, I feel like the Black Bears are more disciplined. That's just my opinion. I haven't looked at, Rock Lobster's numbers by any means, so I can't really make a comment on that part. I know that they're first in their power plays. So that's why I'm hoping that we are more disciplined and, maybe we can get them in the box more and kind of, really work on our power play special teams and, I know they're getting rid of the 5 forwards, and I think that's going to help, and hopefully that number comes true. But I definitely not the Carolina game was awesome. It was great hockey, but I think that this upcoming series is going to be a very high energy, fast paced kind of hockey game. It's probably going to remind me more of like an AHL or NHL compared to like our own league. I feel like it's going to be a very high skilled based game.
Yeah.
And it's going to be impressive on either side.
And you think the offensive skill is going to really kind of like stand out over anything else in these games?
I do, but it's very hard to say because, like, if you're saying that they're going to score a lot of goals, then obviously you're not counting on your defense as much as your offense. But I mean,
that happens sometimes. Well, because sometimes the defensemen, they step up and they score goals too, or they get into it. I mean, take a look at the Saturday game against Indianapolis. Or Indiana. There was so many of our defensemen that got points in that game because they were stepping up into the play and they were being a little bit more effective on the offensive side of things, got, assists. And I think D'Orazio got his first goal. So that tells you that the defensemen are stepping up into the play and getting a little bit more action. That could happen. I mean, what you're saying, 6'5", 7'6", could definitely happen, especially if the defenseman. It doesn't mean you're playing bad defense necessarily, either team. But what it means is like everybody on the ice is really out to play a lot of offense.
Yeah, and that's honestly the nice thing about how the league has been going is that the quality of players has gotten better each year.
Right.
So, if you went back a couple of years ago, you'd be like, oh, well, they've got, one solid guy on their team that scores, 80% of their goals, where now it's, well, any guy on that team can score a goal and they've done it.
Yep. It'll be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for these games this upcoming weekend against the Athens Rock Lobsters. I think it's going to be a good weekend. I'm just kind of hoping that we see some really good hockey and these two teams put on a show for us, because I think that's the important thing here. I do want to leave on one last note. The FPHL did a press conference earlier today somewhere up in Minnesota. Really high up in Minnesota, like not even in the Weber section of Minnesota, right? Which is still closer than this. Like the Webers, it takes them like 19 hours to get home when they come here, and then they drive back. And yes, they have a big RV, and it's like, crazy to be driving those things. However, this is even north and west of where they are. It's kind of crazy. It's like I can't see the Binghamton Black Bears traveling out to that part of Minnesota to play. It's just insane to me, but they did announce that. And now there's, I guess, like 11 options where you can name the team, and this is the league that's running this team. I don't know. Either way. All right. The Power Play Post Show is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app. And don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search Power Play Post Show and become part of our community. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey? Visit binghamtonhockey.net, your go-to source for stats, history, and all things Binghamton Hockey. Thank you very much to Rob Lapolis, our MC, John Petitucci, our musical director. I want to thank again Josh Williams for sending us the videos. Taylor and I really appreciate being able to look at them so we could talk about them and kind of like poke the fire a little bit on the song stuff, which I think is kind of funny. And we also want to thank Binghamton Black Bears rookie defenseman Austin D'Orazio. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And we'll talk to you guys on Sunday for the weekend wrap-up show right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Patitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.